Hello, everyone. I hope that you are doing well. So far, we do not have any viewers, but we will just get started because we got started a little late. So, I sithabe ukuba lapha. I don't know, maybe we can start by introducing our panelists too. We'll start with Mike and then KB, Maforo, DCAT, and then we'll end our introductions and we'll pass the Skhumbuzo Dube. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, cool. Mike, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Michael Dube from Lupane. That's where I am. I am representing youth on this program. I am looking forward to an exciting adventure on the issues of the issues that are affecting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. KB, you can go ahead.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jerry Unube. As the panel, as the host is calling me KP, that's my nickname. I am a Seventh-day Adventist from Childless. I am currently working at United Refineries as a chemical engineer. I hope me being here, I'll learn a lot and I'll give good advice to you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, KB. Maforo, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, friends. How are you? My name is Amos Maforo. Passionate about the young people and helping the young people being better people, better citizens for this world and the world to come.
Thank you for that, Elda. Pastor DCAT, you're on mute, but would like for you to introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Pastor Darrow, aka Pastor DCAT.
Thank you for the short and sweet introduction. Pastor Skhumbuzo, please close out our introductions for us.
Thank you, Leanne, for the time that you've given us. I'm Skhumbuzo Dube. I'm a pastor. Thank you.
All right, great. So today we are talking about becoming a man. INDODA UQOBO. Yes, UQOBO in our community. So hopefully network here will not be bad. So far we have 5 people online and we'd like to appreciate you guys for still tuning in, although but anyway, now let's get started. The first question that I can ask NG, since it's a road to becoming a man, I think before we get to the man, we pass by a stage of boyhood. So my question would be, what is the difference between manhood and boyhood? Like just a difference in the this one is a man and this one is a boy. What's the difference between those two things? Any one of the panelists can take that one.
Maturity is a good indicator of the difference. Maturity.
Right. And in maturity, can you please elaborate? What is your body, your brain? What are we talking about?
It's only when a man speaks that you determine whether they are a child or a boy.
Okay.
They always say you are beautiful before you speak. After you speak, we wish you had never spoken. So maturity has got to do with levels of reasoning, the capacity to reason out things.
Wow.
Maturity can also come in 2 ways. You should be emotionally mature and also physically mature. So boys can never do what men do. And men can never do again what they used to do as boys. It's witchcraft. You can't.
Wow.
0 minus 1, it can't.
Wow.
So when we
Wow.
identify boys, we are saying boys love to play. So if you have tendencies of playing, you are most probably a boy. I didn't say who you are playing or what you are playing. I'm saying playing. If you are a man and you are playing, you're most probably in a national team or in an international team, or you are playing for Olympics, or you are playing for a soccer club. You are seasoned in playing. That's why you even got trophies in playing. So boyhood and manhood must be separated on emotional maturity, physical maturity. These two must marry at some point. You can't have one of the other. So my definition of boyhood is boys are seen. Yeah. Boys are seen by what they do and how they do it and why they do it. Example.
Right.
If you ask a boy, why are you dirty? They will tell you, I was playing. If you ask a man, why are you dirty? He must answer, I was working.
Right.
But if you see a dirty man who answers that he was playing, I don't know. Let the other men talk.
All right. You have heard for yourselves a very elaborate description of a boy who is playing and a man who is working. KB, I think you are not a boy like he is physically. I don't think you are a boy physically. I was mentally. But can you just chime in and give us what's your perspective on a man, or what your perspective on the difference between a man and a boy is?
Pastor DK had covered most of it, especially by splitting the maturity part. You notice that boys, especially if we're now considering maybe factoring in the issue of age, right? For starters, boys are not expected to have so much responsibility. But there comes an age whereby I am expected to be a man and I'm still behaving like a boy. So at times, it so happens that you find someone failing to transit into a man when the time is
Yeah.
So you notice that then that's when you can split now and say, no, this one is still a boy, even though at times the age may be indicating that it's now time for him to be a man. And you find someone at times who you're expecting maybe they are still a boy in terms of age, but well, the maturity is now screaming something else. This person is now a man.
Right.
So that's now based on behavior. Now, when it comes to the physical, you would find with some attributes that you find in men are self-imposed. For example, the physical, I'll not dwell maybe on the anatomy and the build of someone, but maybe how someone presents themselves. For example, if I meet the pastor in town, I meet Pastor SK in town, though he doesn't know my name, he should be able to tell whether this is a boy or this is a man. And the way maybe I am dressing. At times you'll be confused when you realize that no, this is Mr. So and so. And then you'll be confused, but no, I thought this is KB. So those two things kind of the maturity and how one presents themselves can either tell you this is now a man or this is a boy. I hope the audience understand. Thank you.
Leanne is stuck there. I just want to loop into what you've shared something that's very important. She's back. Speaking about maturity, there is physical maturity, there is mental maturity, and also spiritual maturity. There are some men that are still boys spiritually. You know, the way they handle spiritual issues shows that they are still boys.
Pastor, before you get into that spiritual aspect, can you please hold that thought? We're going to delve into that one more deeply. There's a part where I want you to elaborate on that. So can you please hold on to that one for now?
Let me hold it.
But that's a very valid point. All right. Yes. I'm sorry I had gone offline because of my network, but just to keep the ball rolling and considering isikhathi nje, I have a question. Like in becoming a man, and we know what we've met some men who just can't make decisions on their own. Like whether part with swimming pool, the guy knows that he cannot swim, but just because he's afraid of what other men will say, what other people will say, he just jump into the swimming pool. So what causes that fear? What causes ukuthi amadoda bebele, I would say more peer pressure, because they've been in drinking. You find ukuthi waqala with the group setting. So I don't know if you guys can answer that. What causes that fear in men?
Phela Leanne, yini, you are the problem. Ungabuza ukuthi ngeyini, you are the problem. Men amongst themselves have no problem. Just put one lady there and we see stars. You are the problem. The bar is too high. In fact, I hear where you are trying to go with this nyaya of yours. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
There are some men who are failing to enjoy their boyhood because, one, they've been transcending from the failure of having a good example at home as a father, failure of having enough money and you have to hustle before your time, failure of trying to fit in, because beautiful girls like you, Leanne, don't look at some people. You put us under pressure, whether at church, let's not put the gospel here, especially at church. You take the same boy over and over, a reject of a boy. And here I am waiting, hoping that you are going to come down the line and Tololo, I'm always waiting. And then there's Jezebel's sister. Jezebel's sister, the bar is very low, really, I can fit there. She is even fascinated that I pray. By the time you say, let's jump into the pool, even if I can't, I say, Pamamonia Ipapo, we're in. Then I realize, I'm drowning here. So the problem we have is the bar is very high when the female species is around. A young man, when you are boys, we all have dreams, all of us. But sometimes we come from mixed homes where there is no example. You have to grow up too fast. You have to provide. You have to be strong for others. You're always trying. The circumstance sometimes can take away the ability for a boy child to play, such that he's under pressure all his life. You've got to pass. The family is waiting. You've got to go to university. The family is waiting. When is he going to be a child? And that's why you find the transition is not so smooth. It's not so smooth. And then the only friends that we have are the friends within our age group, our peers. And some of those peers are good and some are not so good. So in Harare, let me tell you about Harare. You can live a life that's not yours. The pressure is high. Someone else is eating daddy's money. Some people who are eating their father's profit will force you to eat your capital, to wash that seed and eat for today. The pressure is real. Why? Because if it wasn't for you girls, I'm telling you, we would have nothing to impress.
Yeah, that's
so we're
a
trying
really
to
tough
impress
one.
you.
I don't know.
We're trying to impress. We're trying to feed our egos. We're trying to feel like we're doing something. In the end, we compromise on simple basics to say, I must be content. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Because you, Leanne, don't eat sat. You eat macaroni and cheese. But when we started off in love, you were saying, anything. But no, you know yourself, you eat pizza. So the bar begins to keep on going up and up and up. And I start feeling inadequate. So the core I'm trying to drive at is, young men have egos that are brutalized when they are growing up. They find comfort in peer groups. They do things they never ever thought they would do, just so that they can feel like they are something, just so that they can impress, just so that they can also feel relevant. And that is where our core problem is. That's why we sleep around, to feel like a man. Who said men sleep around? Who said men steal? Who said men do drugs? But wait until I'm high, then you will know that yeah. Because everyone else around me is saying, now if there's someone who can drink, it's a German tank. It makes me feel good. If I go to the gym Half the time, you girls don't notice. You even say to me, Gadi, what were you doing there, Gadi? What the but let Jezebel's sister see me at the gym. She'll say, keep on doing it, my guy. I know you'll make it. Ego. I'm not saying it's holistic. I'm saying there's this thing we have. Growing up too fast, failing to transition, and secondly, our ego. When it's brutalized by inadequacy, you will find us faltering in things that reduce our dignity.
I think, Pastor, you properly laid down the problem. Problem is women. Problem is ego that has been bruised, and it's being filled up, or it's being mended in the wrong ways. Now let's move closer to like the solution, man. Because women will always be there, and there will be always people in life that will come to bruise the ego. So I don't know if maybe Mike or Pastor SK, what are solutions would this problem Ibe solved? How can men conquer this?
You see, somebody. Take it, Mike. It's okay. You can take it.
No, I was saying maybe it goes back to our culture, to our communities, to our homes, the way how we are brought up. Generally speaking, even the way how we are brought up, or the way how we are cultured as we grow up at home, the bar is so high, like my pastor is said there. So we are supposed to be strong. We are supposed to never to be seen crying in the public, and so on. And also, you will discover that even the society has set a standard on who a really man should look like. Maybe, for example, we are supposed to have those six pack and so on. We are supposed to make sure you go to school and accumulate those degrees and so on. Some of us are even going to school not because we are enjoying it, but so that at least it might help you to be seen in the society. At least, right, Mike is a man, he has this, and you try to maybe to go and get about 3-4 jobs at the same time. We are trying to impress. That is the way how we are brought up. So I think if we go back to our homes, to our communities, I think, and try to make sure we reevaluate the ways on how we are supposed to culture the boys, so that when they grow up, they just know that they are men, whether they have this or they don't have this. They are just, it's just enough that we are just wearing a trouser. Of course, I am not running away. I am not running away from the fact that we are supposed to work hard. We are supposed to make sure we are counted in the society and so on. But I'm saying, I think the society has pushed it so far, so that at least the step. So if we go back to the roots, go back to the garden, I am sure we start from there, we can come up with a better solution. That's my take on that.
Okay. So I wanted to say.
All right. Yes, you can go ahead, Pastor.
I wanted to say, he who drags some old carcasses from their past will have to deal with the stink that comes from them. So most of the times, as young people, as young men, we have some carcasses that are coming from our past. And we ought to be helped to be able to deal with each of these. And the moment we understand that. Yeah.
Pastor, I want to ask you a question. Bring it closer to Africa, because Africa men don't go to therapy. So, and men also, they can't speak out INDODA UQOBO. So how are these men going to heal carcasses?
So this is where we are coming to demythologizing that kind of notion. We need to really break that thing down, because it's killing our boys. Because they're cultured not to cry, they're cultured not to really talk about their issues. They will die. In order to hide from those issues, they will hide between the sheets, in alcohol, in drug addiction. That will be their therapy, that will be their counseling, that will be. But when we create an environment where boys are able to open up and share what is their problem, and maybe as a church, we also need to create an environment that really facilitates this kind of a thing, where we are able to say, boys, if you have a challenge, please speak out and let's hear your challenge and let's see how we can help each other. Maybe as peers as well, we need to lend a listening ear to another young man that is in trouble. So on becoming a man is not really necessarily forgetting about what hurts you. Becoming a man is becoming real about the issues that really affect you and also facing them squarely, and then becoming that man that is able to face them after realizing that I have this problem and this problem and this problem. Let me face it squarely.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor. And just a follow-up question on that one. How do men deal with our emotions? How should they properly, how does INDODA UQOBO deal with his emotions? Anyone can take it. I'm sorry, Elder Mafora is having bad connection, but hopefully we'll be able to hear him speak kancane. But that's the question. How does INDODA UQOBO deal with our emotions?
Why do you say uqobo? Why do you say uqobo? Why are you saying INDODA? Why is there INDODA that is coboless? That's where our biggest problem is. You are saying INDODA, so uqobo. Is there coboless INDODA?
Yes.
All right. So I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question. When you are born a boy, right?
Exactly my argument.
Hey, do you choose to be a boy? Until you wake up and you're a boy.
You are just blessed to be a boy, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then if you live long enough as a boy, you all of a sudden wake up and you're now a man. You don't choose to be a man. You're going to become a man, whether you like it or not, whether you are resistant or not, you're becoming a man. Mm-hmm. But you choose two things. One, you choose to be a gentleman. Two, you choose to be a husband. In fact, you're made a husband by a woman who makes you, it's an office. So you choose to be a gentleman. Therefore, we must accept that being a man sometimes is just as rough as you get it. So I must understand that just because I'm a man doesn't mean that I'm a superstar in everything. I must accept that there are days where I'm going to be broke. I must accept there are days where I'm going to fail. I must accept me as a man. I must accept I'm going to be defeated by other men. I'm going to go for a girl and I'm going to be thoroughly defeated. I must go back to the drawing board. Then I must also accept that days where I'm going to delete all these foreigners. I'm going to be the one. I must accept. I must also accept that the true stencil of manhood is found in the descriptions of God. And he created a garden. And when he made a garden, he placed man in the garden. The joy of a man is not seen in spending money. The joy of a man is seen in making money. That's where a man's joy is. We need to learn to create work, not jobs. A job is when another man pays you to do work that he can't do in his yard. The Bible says a man must work. You need to sweat so that you don't have time to think of nonsense. Your mind must always be focused on tilling the land, on preparing yourself to be the priest of a woman. By the time the woman comes, you must not even choose her. God must choose her for you. All you must ask is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You are mine, and you must leave your father's house and your mother's house and cleave to the stranger you call your wife, and then be fruitful and multiply. What is your problem? The problem is INDODA UQOBO. What do you mean INDODA UQOBO? Wait until you leave it, let's see who UQOBO. Wait until Mjolo has hit you hard. Mjolo, when it hits you hard, you will listen to Adele. Go easy on me. You will sing it by yourself. You are a chorus in church, but you will listen to Adele. So they will live in a pandemic. You will lose breath like you have COVID symptoms. There's no to say I'm a man. A young man in one of the churches sent a message on an AMO group, and he says, being a young man is hard. That same week, he hung himself in his mother and father's house. What was he saying? He was saying, when I'm growing up and I'm looking at where I'm supposed to be, I have failed even just imagining me living beyond this. Because I'm a Dodagakali. We need to normalize in the church. We need to normalize in the church for someone to come and say, "Yes, I have no job and I feel useless."
Useless, yeah.
Normalize someone coming into your office, Masavata, Catholic, Pentecostal, whoever. Normalize someone saying, "I am feeling low because I failed my interview." Normalize someone saying, "I was dumped by a girl I love." There are many girls in the pond. Hey, there are many fish in the ocean, but not all of them are edible.
Yeah.
I have my type of fish I like.
Yeah.
So let's normalize ukuthi indoda ingakhala akayikhala emadodeni ayikho lebafazi. We need to create the platforms, we need to create the places where we sit down. If you look at it, many young men, all of us, when we were growing up, every one of us was broke. There's no one who's a hero here who says, "Me, I was born in money." Everyone was broke. Today, yes, you can buy a cake here, you can buy this here, but when you look back, you see, yeah, I've come from far. Let's normalize people coming randomly, telling you how they genuinely feel about certain situations.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Can I just
Pastor.
make a short follow-up on that one?
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead.
Yes, I was just surfing on internet here. I made something by Melinda Fox Family Share 2015. She was just listing some of the qualities which they think fits a real man, something like that. So one of the qualities, it says a real man asks for direction. We know you will locate it eventually, but it doesn't mean there is any shame in asking how to get there a little faster. A real man's pride isn't diminished by asking for help when he needs. May I take that again? Then I think this is directed to you. I was saying one of the qualities that they listed, they are saying a man asks for direction. I think this group had a problem with exactly the same thing that we are discussing about. So they say a man, we know you locate it eventually, but that doesn't mean there is any shame in asking how to get there a little faster. A real man's pride isn't diminished by asking for help when he needs. I still remember his testimony when she was inviting me for this meeting, for this discussion. She said, "Don't worry, I will provide the data for this program if you have got some issues." Then I said, "By the way, what are you doing in life?" And she says, "I'm a student." I said, "How can a student, not only a student, even a lady, give you data for this program?" No, it's just the other way around. Instead, I should give you data to thank you for inviting me, something like that. So that automatically means we are still trying to deal with our past the way how we raised up. So I am sure.
Michael.
Yes.
When she told me the same thing, I said, "In fact, I need this amount."
You said what? You said what?
I said, "Bring it."
You
All of it.
specified.
I said, "Bring that data. Bring it." I specified how much of it I need.
So after this program, Leanne, please give me that data. I think I need it. This program is very important. I think I need it.
No. Anyway, let's just in the essence of time, since it's almost 7, we're supposed to finish at 7, but since it's Puzugukala, let's just keep going with the questions. But thank you so much for, I think, clarifying how to deal with emotions. I think most young men have been running away from ama problems, especially in terms of emotions. There's someone in the chat or from Redemptive Ministry, what dealing with emotions is an African. So I think that's where indaba yama emotions, we should now normalize we should actually accept I feel worthless and things like that. Let's create some platforms or men can actually come up and talk about our problems, about our face side. So now
I have a question, Leanne. I have a question. What do you mean it's an African? I have a problem with this. It's an African. What do you mean dealing with emotions is an African?
In Africa, our Kai.
Yeah, this is how we have been raised, Pastor Ticket. And
I think
that's
he was trying to explain. He
Yeah.
was
deal with. I think that the follow-up is saying the how we've been raised is how we've been socialized is wrong, because we don't deal with the emotions like you were speaking about Umjolo when it has attacked you. You don't vent out, because it doesn't seem men like to do that, and that's machoism. And machoism will really degrade the female species in the process. You see, that kind of a man who has been raised in that way, when they get married as well, they devalue female values, and they devalue any other species that is not male, and they objectify human beings. They turn women into sex objects, because they need this ego to be filled up, and they need to be inflated. So because they've not been releasing emotions, they are pumped up so much, and anything that comes will be dealt with because the emotions have not been released. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, so I hope Pastor Deacon, you were
like, I think what has happened, I think there's been a drift slowly but surely. If I read my history correctly, I think when boys were now moving into manhood, usually that was done in a circumcision ceremony. That was then. They would be starting to interact with the elderly as the elderly would help them transit into the period of being men. But with the advancement of the technology, not that it's bad, with the advancement of the technology and everything, this is what has happened. Most of our young men have actually drifted away from the adults. When I see my pastor, I run. When I see Michael, I run. But Michael has been in that route more than me. So I would rather take advice from my peers than actually asking Michael. At some point in time, my peers still have that notion and stereotype that, you know what, INDODA UQOBO, and that is why you find our young men battering their girlfriends or not even their wives. That is because they don't even know how to handle these things when you get at such a stage. So what I realize in becoming a man, as I'm going back to attach my argument to the topic, you would notice that we are slowly running away from advice, thinking that we know.
Yeah.
Because I know the Pastor SK, I can go through the computer better than him. I'm not asking him about the emotions, but trust me, emotions has been there since the time of Adam. But the Wi-Fi and the computer came earlier in the 1960s or so. So we are slowly drifting from asking the adults how these things are done. Because chances are, one, we're doing these things at the wrong time. What is happening, we're trying, as what Pastor Descartes has said, someone is becoming a man at an age where he must be a boy. So you would find that the things that you do, I cannot then go to Pastor Descartes and ask advice, because I know already I'm doing something at an age where I shouldn't be doing it. So I don't ask, and then I presume I know because I have the computer and I have Google. At the end of the day, I lead my own way. At such a point in time, when the things that are actually happen, now Mtwana comes and says, now I'm pregnant, the first thing that rings in my mind, that boyhood kicks in. What do? I run. So you would
so wait, KB, you are saying you are doing manly activities, but when the responsibility comes, you run like a boy.
You run like a boy.
That is what is happening.
That's the tension.
Because someone skipped stages over and ran away from the people who actually know, because they thought they know. So in becoming a man, someone would rather go to Google than to ask the next person who is pastor, Deacon, Pastor Deacon, you are already married now. I want to get married. What do I do? Pastor Deacon is in Zimbabwe. I'll tell you this, he's in Zimbabwe, he's in Harare. He knows these economic situations, but guess what? I'll go to Google for someone who's living in states and the things are actually quite better, and I want to take advice from that person and try to adapt that advice back in Zimbabwe. Guess what? The transition is not complete. What do? I start running, start battering someone. So in us trying to become men, the best route that we can take is to listen to our elderly. Stop running away from the elderly. They will actually help you translate.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, KP, for that. I think ukhuluma waqeda basically abafana abasibalekela abantu abadala bale information abangelayo because of experience, right? So now moving on to that kind of experience, we have an economic situation in Zimbabwe. Things are bad. Abantu abala capital, imisebenzi ngabe khona 5, but abantu babe 2,000 bedinga umsebenzi onalo. So what can be done? Because we're seeing a lot of guys, they're resorting to drugs, alcohol, because they're failing to deal with this economic situation. So INDODA that we're trying to build here, who's a better person or a better man, how does he deal with this economic situation in Zimbabwe? Because but how does he deal with this?
I mean, I don't agree. Into ziwomile umuntu wonke. Into ziwomile. Nanti igwadla liwomile but liyalihle. Into eziwomileyo nazo zimnandi sometimes. Kodwa amazambane awomile but liyawadla. We are always talking mysteries. What are you talking about? Young men must stop being lazy. Young men must stop being lazy, you guys. I think you are talking as young people. Let's take away the economy for 2 minutes. Let's take away things like, hey, there are no jobs. God never told you to go and get a job. The Garden of Eden had one river that broke out into 4 heads. Every young man must have 4 streams of income. 4 streams of income. Learn to ngwava, you're a young man. You are full of witchcraft. You want to sit. You want to, because you've got an engineering degree, you want a job that takes you to engineering. Doesn't work like that. In Harare, you wait for your engineering degree. You are going to go to spa and you are going to pack bricks like an engineer. Go and see the bottles that are done up by engineers into designs there. You can't wait, you'll die. You wake up, you sleep 35, you wake up and you're 35. Talking about an economy you're not participating in. You've got to be ready as a young person. Yes, you've got a degree, but be ready to get that. Go and sell tomatoes. Stop living outside your means. Why are you living outside your means? Just because now you are an engineer graduate, you want to go stay in borders. It's also okay to stay in a one-room house that you can afford. Buy a Honda Fit that you can afford. It's also okay for you to say, today I'm not eating because I'm saving money and creating your own capital. There are 5 ways of eating money: tithe, offering, investment, saving, and then you can buy a phone. Then you can buy a headpiece. It's witchcraft for you to eat money before you give God. It's witchcraft for you to eat money before you save for rainy days. It is sorcery, Harry Potter, for you to spend money and you've not invested in something. The problem with us is we don't want to be seen to be dirty because the girls can't see me dirty. But if you remove these girls, I'm telling you, you will get dirty and you will make a lot of money. What am I talking about? There's nothing wrong with going to the marketplace and finding a crate of tomatoes going for 15 US and packaging them and selling them for $1 and making $30 out of that. But if your slave girlfriend sees you selling tomatoes, that's the end of that hustle. Maybe, young man, before you get a woman, start getting a hustle before the honey. Hustle before honey. Create a foundation before you doom Cholo. Create a foundation. There's nothing that these Harare boys say they can't do. I want you to come and see these boys who are degreed, who have masters. When they wake up in the morning and they say, boy, the deal is done. They wake up at 6 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, they've made money. 8 o'clock right now, you're going to town. They are still working. Lockdown or lockdown, no lockdown. They are wavering because they know. Young men buy. They even buy stands in places they don't stay in. They are buying stands in the rural area for 300 US, but you've got a cell phone right now, which is costing 1.5, an iPhone 12 or Samsung, whatever. And here you are telling me we don't have capital. If you want capital, sell your Pierre Cardin shoes. If you want capital, sell your Rolex. Sell your Apple Watch. Sell the thing that is in your hand. Moses, what do you have in your hand? Sell that, and God will expand the things in your hand. We are always making excuses as young people. We need capital. We need a boost. We need a business plan. Sometimes you will create a business plan as you move. Sell those sweets. Sell those tomatoes. Sometimes sell knowledge. Someone is looking for something, find the something and charge your markup. And don't be afraid. If someone can't afford your price, they're not your clientele. The biggest way to go broke is family. Stop doing favors for family and not being paid for it. Get paid for the things that you do. Create a hustle. Create a platform for yourself. Right now, things need to be sold on social media. There are companies waiting for brilliant ideas. You're talking about capital. All you need to do is ask yourself the question, what is in my hand? Go to your closet and see what you have. Dispose of it. Work hard because you need to replace it. You can't do hustle and honey at the same time. If you are doing honey, it's an expense. If you are doing a hustle, you will always increase. It is important for us to follow the way God gardened before woman, garden before Eve, so that when Eve comes, she can find a place to clean. Stop forcing these girls to go with you when you're just broke all the time. Ellen White coaching people who don't want to eat pizza. Why? Because you can't afford it. But you want the beautiful girls that love the same pizza. Stop giving us a headache. Don't start things you can't handle. Relationships are kept by airtime. Airtime and Wi-Fi. So let's not pretend that we can't see everything needs money. Yes, relationships are not based on money. But I'm saying the young men of today must get up and see what they have in their closet. And that is where your capital is. Stop begging these old men. In Harare, let me tell you something. If you are not careful, you'll be forced into witchcraft for money.
Yes, and
you'll be forced into witchcraft for money, and you start touching things because you want to quicken getting rich.
And
quicken
whilst you're
rich.
still on that, Pastor DK.
So we need to participate.
Whilst you're still on that, there's a comment in the chat, Uti, there's a lot of pressure ever funding. They are now getting into dirty deals. So can you give anyone on the panel, Uti, separate hustling from dirty deals, like dirty deals, then we hustling you.
Yeah, you know, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm a young man, right? Do you know what is really killing my generation, to be specific? And we're fortunate enough that we have the internet. And one tends to forget that something that is portrayed on Instagram at times may not be reality. When I want to advertise that I'll help you become a forex trader, you know what I do? I can go to a company in town, Julies, go to Julies. Okay, I want to do an advert using your phone. And then I do that advert. You know what to think? You'll be thinking, no, KB is a Ford Ranger. So you know what I'm going to do. So let me just follow what KB is doing. Then I get a Ford Ranger. It's quick. You think it's a quick scheme, but I was just doing an advert. So those social pressures come by us as young men starting to look at those other guys who we don't know how they made their income. One, we've never even interacted with them. But I just want to be like them in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because what do I want to do? I want to go and post on Instagram. I've made it, I've done this. You'll find someone now getting into, I get the shady deals part, but now some people get into rituals. Rituals come with conditions. And someone's like, I want to get into this fast.
So,
But they are now
as you're
forgetting
speaking
one
on that,
thing. Sorry.
can you give examples, like explicit examples of ama dirty deals, lama, those kinds of things? Can you give examples, Sibi?
Okay, for example, I'll quote this example as it is, maybe from one chat that I received, whereby this guy was making a confession, whereby he rumbled. I don't know, maybe how you call it in the valley. I'm trying to figure out a word, whereby a ritual that can maybe make you get money, but the ritual comes with conditions. You getting it?
Yeah.
So you will find that someone is quickening the process of getting rich. They are skipping the steps that Descartes was talking about. You first have to have a garden. Someone wants to have fruit before they have a garden. That is what is really killing us as young men right now. I rush to have the apple and show off the apple before I actually have the garden where I am going to till and plant
Hey,
and water the apple and let it grow.
hey,
That is what is really damaging us as young men. We think becoming men is going to flash that apple, that guys, I have an apple, a sweet red juicy apple, and forgetting that no, becoming a man is actually being able to tell myself, I want to have a tree. I want to grow apples. What do I need? I have my iPhone that he was talking about. I have an iPhone that can give me 1,500. I have a laptop that can give me two, maybe $300 or something like that.
Yeah.
I need capital. We are
Yeah.
forgetting that part that we have to work for
Yeah.
something, but we want the results without working.
hmm,
That is what is killing us right now. So, in us trying to become men, we want to become the finished product before going through the process. Even for God,
hey,
it doesn't happen that way.
hey,
That's what
hey.
is really killing us as young men. As he had said, you first have to have the garden. We're skipping that process because I'm looking at the end product that I saw on Instagram. So you would notice that now what young men are getting into rituals that have conditions that are going to, at the end of the day, that are going to kill them earlier at times. They're going to be doing things that they not even imagine that they will do at some point in time. So you will find that the process that Descartes was talking about, the garden process, what do you have? You're saying you don't have capital. What capital? If you can expand, remember something. God, Jesus, the parable of talents, he gave someone 5 talents. What do they do with the 5 talents? They went on and expanded those 5 talents, right? So you would notice something. I will be here crying and saying, I don't have capital. Maybe I say, maybe the Harare guys are privileged. I give all sorts of excuses, but I'm busy chatting on my iPhone. I am on Instagram. But if I were to sell that iPhone, go and get that crate of eggs, sell that crate of eggs, make $30 a day. Maybe by the end of the month, if I'm really serious, I've made 500. And that's capital. But we as young men tend to want to skip that process nowadays. I want the end product. I want to be maybe having a house, maybe like Pastor SK. I want to have that house, but no, I don't want to work. That's
Hey.
what is killing us now. So we think being a man is being flashy out there and having things, but we're forgetting that being a man starts at a process whereby I accept where I am and think and plan on how I want to get to where I want to be. So that's where we're losing it mostly as young men. So this thing of saying we don't have capital. If you really want capital, remember everything is in steps. My goal maybe is to grow potatoes, but right now I don't have the money to grow potatoes. What do I have? Maybe I have this iPhone of mine that maybe I can sell it and start selling my eggs. At some point in time, if I am saving and stop living a lie on Instagram, stop living a lie on Facebook, and stop even lying to my own self, you will find that I will get that capital. Since I've waited for it, I will get that capital and do the best out of it. So the issue of starting to have the issue of looking for capital as an excuse, then sitting on my butt, apparently in this world that we're living in right now is not really working because I am one witness who started their own side hustle. I am an engineer, by the way, as he had said. I started my own side hustle without capital, but here I am, my hustle is moving. So I really don't see it as an excuse, except if you're not really being real with yourself and having some things that are more fantasies and not delving and looking into your reality. That's what is happening. You're looking at people in Instagram and you want to be there. The instant gratification, as the people call it.
So
Yes.
um,
Yes.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Tebo. I don't know if it's my network at bed, but I being Susamania breaker off at the end. But also in the essence of time, would also like to move on to also to those qualities of becoming a man, right? Skulumila about capitals, akuluma about imali, hustling and doing that. We have a saying esindebeleni, ubuhle bendoda izinkomo zayo. To what extent is that applicable? Like, similarly, yibo udoda bendoda yini ukuthi inkomo zayo yibo ubuhle bendoda. Mike, do you want to take that, or Pastor SK or KB? What do you say about that statement? Ubuhle bendoda yinkomo zayo.
Okay.
Definitely,
Maybe
I
before
think.
okay.
You can go on, Pastor.
Okay, before KB takes that question, sorry, before Mike takes that question, there is a question in the chat box here, which goes to KB, so that maybe you can then answer there is Don Kudra is asking, which engineering field are you in, KB? Sebo?
I'm a chemical engineer.
Okay, thank you.
That's the
You can
field I am in. And my business is actually outdove in chemical engineering. The other one is tech. Those are the side hustles, not where I work.
Okay, thank you. Then maybe you can go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I was saying, by the way, the question was saying, yeah.
The question was, I'm sorry, I got cut off. My network is really bad.
Right.
But I was saying, Guti, we have a saying, esindebeleni, ubuhle bendoda zinkomo zayo. So my question was, how applicable or how far does that go? Ukuthi ngisithi umuntu lo uyindoda, imali yakhe yiyo ethi uyindoda, like how far does that constitute ubudoda bomuntu?
Yeah. Yeah, if you go traditionally or whenever, you'll discover that in one way or the other, especially as a man, maybe the pastors will touch on that. Our men of cloth is their field. But if you go back to the Bible, you discover that even Adam, before he met Eve, he was given 2:15, Genesis 2:15, he was given a garden. Genesis 2:18. Am I? Is my next
Yes,
right?
yeah, audible.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, audible, Mike.
Yes, I was saying, before Adam met Eve, you will discover Genesis 2:15. Adam was given the garden physical aspect. You go to 2:18 Genesis, social aspect. It is not good for a man to be alone. So social growth. Then you go to 20, is given the privilege of naming the animals. So intellectually and so on. So all those aspects, they are being catered for. Even Jesus, Luke 2:52, he grew in stature, in wisdom, in favor with men, favor with God, something like that. So at the end of the day, we are saying when Adam met Eve, he was empowered for it. So even in our societies, I am sorry, I am going to jump out of this ship a little bit and shoot from the other side of the road. You will discover that even as we are growing up at school, whether primary or secondary, the only thing, especially when you are coming from a humble family, the only thing that will keep you going, maybe suppose you are smart, your IQ is, so somehow people, they will crowd in you simply because they have something to get from you. If you are coming from a rich family, the same thing, because of your resources. So at the end of the day, in our societies that we live in, somehow as a man, especially as a man, if you are not well resourced, it's not very easy. So that's why we are saying, if you don't have any estate, maybe go to school. If you don't have maybe qualification, try to invest and so on, apply for a loan, so that somehow you have got somewhere where you can stand on. Because this idea of saying, I think as long as I was created a man, even if I don't get this and so on, I can still survive. I think life is going to be stressful. Even at church, they will never nominate you to be an elder and so on, because they will say, no, you give a bad example. You see, so if you can be rejected by your own, what about in the secular world? Something like that. Because I still remember, going back to what Leon was saying, I still remember I bought myself a certain machine and I wanted to engage in gold mining and so on and so on. So I discovered that the person who wanted to initiate me in that business, he was saying, now be prepared to venture into the devil's ground. Because once you want to carry verses in your hands, you never survive in this. Because there are hopes and so on, so you're supposed to make sure you bribe them and so on. Because that's the only way that will take me far, maybe not faster per se, but it will take me far. But right now, if you are stuck at work, yes, of course you can get capital and so on, but you will discover that your movement is going to be a little bit slow. So I concur. I think as a man, that are supposed to be resourced. For example, today at Lupane, we had a program, an AMO program. So we had adults and so on, and they were giving us advices. They were introducing themselves. I'm working as a teacher, health, and so on. So guys, we can help you so that at least you grow and become real men. I told them that join in the evening, you get some more advice. So I'm saying, even our adults, even our church elders, our senior citizens, they are supposed to come closer to the young people and support them so that they are resourced. But if you are not resourced, in as much as we are going to glory, but I am sure life is it's not going to be as sweet as that's my.
Leon, the statement.
Guys, yeah, we're saying Indoda we're saying Indoda, yes, long in Nkomo inhle. Let's not obuhle bomhazi imbiza zakhe.
Yeah, sort of, but somehow this proverb, I think it was more inclined to men than women, because a lot is expected from men than from women, I think.
I think where Pastor Kate was going
Okay.
Is where I wanted to go, because this proverb has got two sides to it. The materialistic side, where one will try by all means to be like umakhelwane, because umakhelwane has got lots of cattle, and because he can't get there, he will try by all means to maybe even cut corners so that he can be able to get there. Where the end will justify the means, and the process becomes insignificant. So that is where the problem of this notion comes from. But there is the good side, where actually somebody is supposed to work hard and also accumulate and create wealth. So that's very important. But the bad side, morals are not in place, and the process is short-circuited because someone wants to get to be like, because they are saying so like obviously to try and get there, cut corners and do everything to be like any other man.
Pastor DK, you were saying something. Did
I was saying
say what you wanted to say? Oh,
yeah, you can hear what I'm trying to say, Leanne. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the pressure unsaid. This is why the young ladies in Harare are going to Dubai. By the way, not all of them are going shopping in Dubai or have businesses in Dubai. Dubai is a very lucrative business.
Okay.
Let me share with you and not give you ideas.
Yeah.
You see, some of these young are going to Dubai because there's some foreigner who has paid out 10,000 US
Okay.
for services that shall be rendered there on a cruise for a week.
Yeah.
Flight has been paid. Food has been paid. You go there and you render your services. When I say services, please understand what I'm trying not to say.
Okay.
You go and render your services as men as you are. Whatever they instruct you to do, that's what you are going to do. You come back home with 10,000 US.
Yeah.
Now you are back home with 10,000 US. You open a little car shop. You've opened this little car shop and you are selling funny ornaments. You're driving a Mercedes-Benz. It's not tallying with the demands of a Mercedes-Benz. That demand that you are supposed to be at work 24/7. You stay in a garden flat, 10,000 US a month. How are you maintaining the high level? It's because when you're talking about Kuromba, the pressure of trying to get to the end product before time is what creates us to take shortcuts that take away the soul. Ubuhle bendoda busendodeni. Yekela inkomo, ubuhle benkomo busenkomeni. But it also means, in essence, after you love a woman, you must be able to provide for her. When all is said and done, the sequence must be made complete. Because you can't love the cows and never love the man.
Right.
You can't love the man and ignore the value of the cows. A member of mine who drives a taxi says some men are married in the evening only, but from morning till the evening, they are wives to other men in rich suburbs. They come home, they say it's about 500 US per hour with other men. He comes home with 10,000 US. Do you think the woman cares where you got the money from? Selling your soul to the devil can be easy. I heard you saying you're a chemical engineer. Depends. It depends. If you are hungry enough, you will forget you're a chemical engineer and you'll do things you never thought you would do in your life. You can be a pastor, you can be what? There will come a time where if you don't know who you are going to do things that will change you and you will sell your soul to the devil for nothing.
True.
So ubuhle ndoda is not just enkomeni zakhe. Zisenkomeni zakhe lokuthanda kwaNkulunkulu owenza inkomo yakhona.
Amen.
Ubuhle bendoda buseJesini. Alive. Because when the nkomos die, you'll have nothing to love him for. But if you love the God he loves, there's no way if you are a man and you love God, you can be lazy. Never. Never. Adam and Eve. Adam was not lonely. He was alone. There's a big reason. Lonely is demonic. Don't let people complete you. You must be complete in the relationship. They must come and compliment you, or else they will complicate you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pastor.
For wives and godly women are looking for men.
Amen. Yeah,
Amen.
that's really powerful. Thank you so much, Pastor. And you are helping us to get on to the next question. Pastor Skhumbuzo to hold on to ekuqaliseni, which is on men and spirituality. Singangena ema-church, we find there are more women than men. Of course, we know in the world, vele abafazi sibaningi kulamadoda, but it seems like men are slack in terms of prayer, in terms of spiritual things. So why is that? What can be done? Yet the man is supposed to be the priest of the house, but kuthiwa mukadzi musha mukadzi, or umuzi umfazi. So what is going on with men with spiritual matters?
Mike wants to take it.
Yes, Mike, you can go ahead.
I think, of course, I think it goes back to our society today. Like we started if you look closely, we discover that somehow men have got, or let me say guys, have got a lot of pressure. They are trying to do this and that.
But
so that
women also have pressure.
No, you will discover that, for example.
It's not the same.
Okay. No, that part I understand. But when you take maybe a sample, a survey in any church, you will discover that when you ask maybe for among the girls, what are you doing in your profession? I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, this and that, and so on. Why? Because at home, they are only sent to school. They don't have to go try this and that. But men, some of them, they work on the Sabbath to try and keep something on the table. Even if they are not fathers somehow, there is that mentality in men. So at the end of the day, I believe women have got a lot of time, maybe especially at home, at least to concentrate on those issues. By the way,
Michael, that's not fair.
Yes.
Michael, now for me we must save you before you make an accident. Pack your thing.
Okay. Mina, that's my observation, my master.
Yeah. Michael,
Yeah.
wait. Where were the men when the girl was going to study engineering? Where were they when she was going to study law? Where were they when everyone is given equal opportunity sometimes? Let's give in a normal setup without many variables.
Right.
They are all at UZ. How come the men seem to have more pressure at UZ? They are all in the same class.
Right.
The girls are passing. If you come to my churches now and ask the young people, what are you doing? I have engineers. I have this. I have that. Ask the young men, what are you doing? You get weird stories to say, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh,
exactly.
What are you entrepreneuring?
Yeah.
This and that. I'm actually you are starting a business every year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair to say women have more time. They have a different type of pressure.
Right.
But men, let's be accountable for our time. Where is our time going? Where is it going? Who can tell us exactly what we are uncovering? What are we doing really?
This is not a new argument.
What are we doing? If you think about it, what exactly are we doing? We are so busy. The stress we have is we want to buy a nice car.
Yeah.
That's what we want. What about the fuel? What about the maintenance? Do you have land? No. Are you planning to buy land? No.
Right.
Are you planning to buy rims for a car? Yes. What have we been doing? And what are we doing? Maybe the girls are more focused than the guys. Let's make that argument. Maybe the girls are more focused.
Okay.
Remember that maturity we were talking about?
Yeah.
Women grow up faster than what? Then me and you are still playing video games up till today, but you will never find them playing outside. Me and you are still playing Xbox today, and we're dying to buy the latest PS5.
Yeah. Right.
In fact, during university, during class, we are playing.
I think okay.
I think we're losing Pastor there, but he was still talking
Okay.
about what men are playing a lot, and I think he was driving it. Maybe that immaturity is also affecting the spirituality aspect, because it seems like men are not angwazi ukuthi kuhamba njani, but men, when it comes to izinto zokukhuleka, seems they're too busy for setting aside this card. So let me set aside some time for this. Or are men irresponsible when it comes to spirituality matters, or kuhamba njani? Maybe you guys can explain further.
Apparently, what's
They are
happening is
being
that
okay.
when people realize that for men, at times we are phambili kubona baqala bafuna ukuzi-adventshela bebodwa and but trust me, becoming a man requires powers that are beyond you as a human being.
Yeah,
Especially if you want to be a responsible man. Get me right. If you want to be a responsible man, right? That is why ask yourself one thing. Solomon was told, now, Solomon, you've been ordained, you are now a king. And now God is like, Solomon, tell me what you want. Like anything you want, like tell me what you want. And Solomon asks for wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Ask yourself this one thing. Where are the young men getting wisdom?
Yeah.
That's one question we must ask ourselves. As young men, where are we getting our wisdom? Who is guiding us? Huh? So you will notice that when it comes to this aspect of us being spiritual as young men, we tend to think we know and we tend to think we will make it, but we need guidance. You realize that we need a lot of guidance, and apparently now we are trying. That is why you know the instinctive emotion that females have. No, now I need help. Me as a man, I'll tell myself, no, I don't need no help. I don't see a reason for kneeling down. But the kings that are in the Bible knelt down and prayed. Think about it. Joshua, when he was fighting, I think, I'm not so sure if it's the Ammonites, I'm not really sure. He prayed and asked God, you know what? I need to finish this. Can you hold the sun? He prayed and asked. And a warrior he is praying. But me, I am KB, I'm there, but I don't want to really talk to God. God, I'm becoming a man. I have so much responsibilities. I need you to guide me. We run away from that spirituality. And it's really hurting us because Pambidlana, I'm the same person who said, being a man is hard. I didn't even look for God, then I hang myself. What a tragedy.
Wow. Thank you for that, Gebo. Thank you so much, KB. Yeah, amadoda, it seems igoliana ekade sikhuluma ngayo qala, maybe it becomes a little too much in terms of spirituality matters. I don't know. Can we have some more reasons why men fail to, or men are becoming slacking in terms of ukukhuleka izinto zomthandazo? What are some of the other reasons ngaphandle kwele ekhitshwe nguCebo?
Yeah, exactly where I was trying to drive at. I was not trying really to protect men. It wasn't. We are trying to establish the source of those problems, why they are not into prayer, church activities, and so on. You see, I think it goes back to what I was trying to say. It goes back to socialization and so on, because I don't think it's fair at the same time to accept that almost all the guys, according to research, almost in all the churches, they have one problem simply because they are immature and so on. It can't be that way. It can't be that way. And the women or ladies, they can't be all of them mature and say, it's a question of maturity. I think because I still remember I visited one family and the woman was saying, please pray for my husband because he's no longer attending our altar prayers, those prayers at home and so on. I said, what's the problem? And this woman was saying, as soon as he comes home, when he eats, he just goes to sleep. Then by the time we want to eat some prayers and so on, then he's already asleep and so on. Why? because that pressure, you were just going around. But go back to the ladies at home. Really, yeah, I think I don't want to say they don't have pressure on their shoulders, but I mean, I think they are better protected by our society. Even the organization I'm working on now, if you look at the policies, whether country policies, so international policies, somehow all the NGOs that are here in Lubani, they are about the girl child. What are you doing? You are vulnerable. We want to test you. We want to take you to school. We want to help you with this and so on. Where are the programs for males? No, males are strong. We'll see about them and so on. Everyone is just busy. I touch on a woman right now. Tomorrow I am in court. The lady touches me. She is safe, something like that. So at the end of the day, I think all those issues, they mount pressure on boys, on guys, and so on. At the end of the day, even when they go to school, somehow, when they go to church and so on, they've got a lot in their minds, and somehow spiritually they begin to decline. That's why if you go back, maybe like you were saying, Solomon, David, and so on, if you look at their history, they will tell you that even at home, the way how Jews they were bringing up those guys, they were making sure that they groom them accordingly. They make sure they try to repeat the Torah and they recite and so on, so that they stay focused. But right now, you're just a guy, you go to church, you want to survive, this and that. So that's the end that I was trying to explain. I'm not saying I want to protect men per se. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
No, we hear you, Mike. I think I hear your point. Ukuthi maybe amadoda are being neglected. Ukufundiswa. Yeah, it's kind of like amadoda expected to kind of have it together. Ukuthi hayi bayakwazi bazabona. So maybe that's a call to everyone. Ukuthi let's focus on the men again. Sikhangela ukuthi is the men spiritually echurch laphani amwena leyana besesebancane bekhula. Of course i-pathfinder i-ambassador kwampa singaphonga ukubayekela nje singabe siphonga ukukhayela amankazana ukuthi hey amankazana bazazithwala and things like that, but sikhangele also amadoda. So now I know we lost to Pastor Decad or Pastor SK, but I think that you guys are really being helpful, Katesi. So I would like to get your closing remarks. Okay, before maybe we can get closing remarks, can I get just 2 points from each of you? What do you think can break a man? Maybe gulo mama olalele a wife, a girlfriend, umjida, ubururu wako, you know. What is the one thing that you know can break a man that abantu should be careful of? Anyone of you guys?
Take it, Carlos.
Yes, you can go ahead, Mike. Oh, you are giving it to KB.
Yeah, KB.
Maybe it's still... KB, are you still gathering your thoughts?
Maybe the question is, maybe you can put it in another way, maybe.
No, I actually understand the question very clearly.
Okay.
Things that break a man.
Yeah.
Apparently, any man, okay, now we're talking about men, not boys, right? For men, especially his ego as a man, right?
Okay.
That is why maybe you find when females know how to soften the man's ego, right?
Yeah.
And maybe, actually, now we're talking about the female side, but now let's talk about the men's side, especially if a man deems themselves useless in a society.
Yeah.
They tend to disintegrate gradually. When they deem themselves useless in a society, you'll find there are different reactions, you know.
Yeah.
Like when a man is bruised, maybe you would find that when he's broken, the way he reacts, some become suicidal because men usually, some become suicidal, some become violent. We've seen men become violent, right? Just because at times they are broken, some become suicidal. So I think those are the two factors maybe that I've seen breaking men. I don't know if maybe Pastor Cricket and Michael have more that they can add on.
Okay.
Yeah, Pastor DK, you just joined us. Well, we're
Yes.
looking for
The
two
two things that
factors from everyone that can break a man. Yes.
Yes. The first one is unfaithfulness. Unfaithfulness. You don't know how hard a man tries for you, only for you to be unfaithful. That one, they come rain, come thunder. You can say whatever you want to say. Secondly, ungratefulness. You're amongst your friends and you never appreciate. You can't even call him to say, you know, this is my man. You can't even look or pretend even to be proud of him amongst your friends. But as you stand right there, you are dressed in him. He's not a man. He's not Louis Vuitton. But whatever you're wearing from that barrel is from his hand. He's wearing the same trousers from last year so that you can wear the current dress. Those two things will break a man beyond. You see, men are not taken away from unloving women. Men are taken away from careless women. If you treat men carelessly, it will be taken away. If you break a man, you'll see no need to make money. You'll see no need to do anything. Isn't that useless? I might as well be useless. The Bible says, trifling with hearts. In fact, it's spiritual prophecy. Trifling with hearts is like murder.
Yeah.
If you want to kill a man, break a man's heart. I'm not talking about these useless men. I'm talking about the genuine man who puts you first and last in everything that he does. You will see persistent, consistent tears. And whatever it is that you do, you will never find satisfaction. Oh, I'm done by 2 points.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Yeah, Mike. I'm going to this level.
Okay, I know. I'm just enjoying
yeah.
the conversation. I think, yeah, maybe in addition to that, maybe like we were saying, the societal standard, the bar. As a man, suppose maybe it goes back to grooming. If you fail to touch that bar, somehow you begin to develop some insecurities and so on. So at the end of the day, you become withdrawn and so on. Then secondly, the resources, like we are saying, apart from as a man, teaching our boys to know their identity, they are complete before God because they are created in His image and so on. But somehow, should they fail to find some resources in the society, or if they are not taught to work hard, so that at least they put some food on the table and so on, somehow that also it will disturb or it will destroy you as a man. You will never feel like a man. For example, if you go to the gathering, you see there are some guys like my pastor. They are just free and so on, but there are some men who are withdrawn and so on. If you try to make a small research, you discover that they think, or they lack one or two things which they think they are supposed to have in order to match other men or the ideal men in the society. So that also it can destroy. So it goes back to our socialization.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for that. And now, just in closing, Jay, this discussion was mainly to help someone, a man out there, or some Dala who got out of the way of being a true man, civilly, and maybe a young man or sakula who doesn't have a father or something like that. So maybe in a minute or so, in a few seconds, what advice would you give to either that young man who doesn't have guidance or to that older man who has lost his way in becoming a man?
For me, that was when I was 16, 17. I lost my parents when I was 16, 17. We grow up before our time. We grow up hard. But I can tell you that it gets better with time. It gets better with time, and it doesn't change the fact that you can tell your sorrowful story to someone. They will break your heart even like that. So the bar does not change for anyone. You just need to be stronger. How are you stronger? If Jesus is not your friend by now, whoever you call your friend is artificial. God will give you one faithful human friend, but he's the ultimate best friend. And when you live your life, you will find that whatever you touch is blessed because you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. So you can't give up on yourself because God has had your back from the time you thought you were making it, from the time you thought you were not even making it. God has never left. So my encouragement is never look at yourself and compare yourself to someone else. Compare yourself to God and be content with what God has given you. I didn't say don't have a vision. I'm saying be content with the pace, baby steps, until you get to where you want to be.
Thank you, Pastor DK. KB or Mike, your advice to someone out there.
To young men out there, becoming a man is not something that is instant. It is stages. Yes, some of us didn't have fathers. Some of us didn't have mentors also. But this is one thing. If you can get to a place where there is someone you look up to, just have the courage to go and ask them. You want to get married?
Yeah.
Go and ask a married guy. You want to do business properly. If you want to do proper business, yes, there are some people that you're looking at, which you see that maybe they are doing proper business. Have the courage. Asking. There's nothing wrong with asking. Go and ask them. You will get your guidance by asking. EsiNdebeleni bathi umntwana ongakhaliyo ufele emlozeni, ufele embelekweni, because kakhali. So ask, buza. You have the courage to ask because you know what you want. You know the goals that you want to attain. Ask those that are already there. They will help you. And the other thing is pray about it. Pray about your future. I realize most guys don't even bother praying about their future, but they sit down with a pen and the paper and write what they want, but they don't involve God. Pray about it. Trust me, God will help you. That's what I have. Thank you.
Okay, my take on that one. Number one, I think to that young man out there, let me say you have no one to assist you and so on. Number one, hard work will help you mount up with wings to go to any height. I share the same testimony or the same faith with Darren Kashtusha, where I come from, and so on. I lost parents, this and that, and so on. So at the end of the day, right from my A level, somehow, I was paying for myself, doing my degree, whatsoever, master's, whatsoever, and so on. So at the end of the day, in the process, I was trying to balance work and education and so on. We have got half the time, attend some lectures and so on. But at the end of the day, you celebrate and you find the president of the country is now keeping you and so on. And it will be so hard work pays. In as much as we have got some lot of odds against us. Then the second one, I think it is closely tied to what KP said. Connect in networking. Just connect yourself to people who are successful. For example, for spiritual life, try to stay close to our men of cloth, Darrell and our Skhumbuzo and so on. They will assist you to deal with your emotion and so on, and to how to grow strong spiritually and so on. Should it be in business and so on, try to make sure you stay close. But if you stay in isolation or in an island, as it were, really life can never be easy. You can never break a record or try to come up with a new thing. You are supposed to make sure you stand on the shoulders of those that have made it. I think to that despairing young man out there. I think those two they are key to me.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much, KB. Pastor DK at Simluzile for now, but this has been such a fruitful discussion. I pray, Wuti, everyone will be able to share with young men out there. As we spoke about, Wuti, Amadoda, they are kind of like being neglected. So I just pray that we can share this, Abantu Betole, all this good information. So just to close, so Cecily, 1 hour, 30 minutes, Kuluma. KB, do you mind just closing us off with prayer?
Let's pray.
Yeah.
Kind and loving Father, thank you very much for the discussion that we had. And thank you that we managed to have a discussion, and we hope that the audience that was there managed to get something that will help them in life. To every young man who is there, oh Lord, please be with them, guide them, help them as they set their goals for the future, and also be with them and help them and teach them your ways and help them to incline towards your word. I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, this is the end of our discussion today. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much, KB. And thanks to everyone who tuned in. I wish you a nice evening or morning, wherever you may be watching from now. Otherwise, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.